pussy 9, set me off that 45. Something we call homicide. Set me off the 45. Something we call homicide. None of my niggas get to shoot. All my niggas better rock. Be ready when we spit at you. We gon' be some pussy 9, set me off that 45. Something we call homicide. On a Saturday, I was smoking that Mary J. Hit some weed off in my system. Know this nigga bout to pay me all my cheese. If he don't, I'ma break his knees. Beat him down to the ground because he did not pay my cheese. Stop him up just like a bitch. Fucking your car, grab a stick. Beat him down to...
Internet damage report. Faces one here. So we talking about the TikTok ban now. Seems like the Supreme Court is kind of on the people's side. They made a valid point by saying something about TikTok collect our data and stuff. But don't the other apps do that too? They have been doing that for years, and they have been selling our data. So what's the difference? They pick and choose what we can do and what we can't do out here. The whole reason why they want to ban TikTok is because it's a connection to people. They can upload a video about an incident that happened, and you will see it within minutes. They don't want us to be connected, because they want to keep lying to us. That's the reason why. Ain't nothing else to be said about it. They want to keep lying to us. If you don't know that by now, I don't want to say sleep. I guess you sleep to this shit. What else? Couple more things. TikTok, that's one of the main things that they want to try to do to separate the people. Like I said on one other video, they trying to keep us divided. It's a division thing. If they wanted segregation, why the fuck they just didn't do that in the past and let it be that? Cause that ain't what they want, man. Well, listen, I don't know. It's a lot to unpack, man. Just know that. We'll find out Monday what's going on with the TikTok ban. It'll be like all week. They'll be talking about it. They just keep changing some things to things. We still on the fire though. What caused that? Right now we talk about this TikTok ban. Is it gonna happen? Will they succeed in separating the country by keeping us and knowing what the media is talking about? Or will we still have TikTok and stay connected? Something to ask, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't make money on TikTok, but I like TikTok. It's very informational. If I hear about something, I just get on there and type it in and find out what's going on. And the majority of the time, it's off my algorithm. It's there. All I gotta do is scroll. Whatever they talking about. So I get most of my content. I ain't gotta go type that stuff in most of the time. I just scroll. And it be about the video. Might be a couple videos about bullshit. But most of the videos about what's going on at the time sound like a better news source than an actual news source to me. Just saying that. TikTok. Will it get banned? We don't know. We will find out in 9 days. Yesterday is January 10th, 2025. Really don't know what to say anymore about this. I hope we don't lose TikTok. But yeah, boy, Faceless One, about to wrap it up. Y'all enjoy these videos. Have a good night. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'm only getting a couple views. And I know I just started this, but help a brother out. Like and subscribe. Internet damage report. And I'm out.
They're not concerned about the fact that it is available. As I said, the remedy is just somebody else has to run TikTok. So They're not concerned about the content. They're concerned about what the foreign adversary is doing.
So if I may, I think to answer your question properly, I think you have to separate two things. One is the content recommendation algorithm, and that's what I was speaking about a moment ago. That has nothing to do with data security. That doesn't itself procure data. That just determines what videos people see on their feed on TikTok. As to that, I think the answer is inescapably that the government and Congress itself was worried about content. The government itself is here saying national security. So like a mix of cat videos or dance videos doesn't affect national security. No matter what happens, the only thing that can affect national security are the substance of those videos. And when the government's pressed in its briefing, it outright tells you that. It says what we're really worried about is sowing doubts about U.S. leaders, etc.
I think they're not concerned about the fact that it is available.
What happens after January 19th if you lose this case? Can you just spell that out?
At least as I understand it, we go dark. Essentially, the platform shuts down.
Unless there's a divestiture.
Unless there's a divestiture, unless President Trump exercises his authority to extend it by night. But he can't do that on January 19th. On January 19th, we still have President Biden. And on January 19th, as I understand it, we shut down. It is possible that come January 20th, 21st, 22nd, we might be in a different world. Again, that's one of the reasons why I think it makes perfect sense to issue a preliminary injunction here and simply buy everybody a little breathing space. This is an enormously...
What do you mean by shut down, too? Can you just spell that out?
So,
if you
the app is not available in the app stores. That's at a minimum. But in addition, what the act says is that all of the other types of service providers can't provide service either. Now, there's enormous consequences for violating that for the service providers. So essentially, what they're going to say is that, I think we're not going to be providing the services necessary to have you see it. So it's essentially going to stop operating. I think that's the consequence of this law, which again is why a short reprieve here would make all the sense in the world. It's an enormously consequential decision, and I think all would benefit if it weren't necessary.
Thank you.
Jeff Bezos came, Bill Gates came, Mark Zuckerberg came. Many of them came numerous times. The bankers have all come. Everybody's coming.
Oh, this is wild. This is wild.
Your Bezos example, because there it's clearly content discrimination because we're talking about the ability to post particular articles versus other articles. Am I right that the algorithm is the speech here?
Yes, Your Honor. I would say it's the algorithm is a lot of things. The algorithm has built within it. It's basically how we predict what our customers want to see.
The editorial discretion.
Yeah, the editorial discretion. It also has built within it the moderation elements. All of this kind.
All of the social media platforms have been arguing that the algorithm is not an editorial decision. This goes directly to Section 230. Oh, bitch.
I'm an attorney and I just got done listening to the Supreme Court hear the TikTok ban issue. I think the attorney arguing against the TikTok ban made some great points. He pointed out that if the US government is so concerned about Americans' privacy and access to our data, then why is the government not also trying to ban apps like Shein and Temu, which collect essentially the same kind of data that TikTok collects? He used this to point out that the real issue here is the government trying to control free speech. Even Justice Sotomayor stated that she is concerned that this TikTok ban is trying to control speech, which is a huge problem for Americans. Another point the attorney made in arguing against the TikTok ban is that there have been government officials make statements like, oh, TikTok is a threat to democracy, it's gonna sway Americans' opinions, which again points out that the government, the US government, is trying to control speech. I think he did a great job arguing against the TikTok ban. And of course, the attorney arguing for the ban, she keeps pointing out like, no, this is about data. But I think the strongest argument made was by the attorney arguing against the TikTok ban. Anyway, the hearing convened for today, and I'm going to keep paying attention, and I think it starts again on Monday.
The Supreme Court hearing on the TikTok ban has just finished, and here's a complete breakdown. I watched the entire thing. We went live, and let's break down arguments. There were some funny points that happened here, but I have to admit, out of the gate, things look really good for TikTok. Arguments on the TikTok ban started at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It went over 2 hours going back and forth, where I have to admit, I feel like in the beginning, maybe the judges didn't understand the algorithm and things with TikTok, but by the end of it, they understood it fully. Remember, the US government is saying that this is a national security issue because TikTok, which is owned by ByteDance, which is located in China, could have its data given to the Chinese government and used against US citizens. TikTok, on the other hand, that is actually done by Francisco and a few other lawyers, states here that no, getting rid of this is a first right amendment. It's the freedom of speech you're now ripping away. And the judges also had to clarify that you're talking about the algorithm being the first right amendment. A lot of the discussion back and forth had to deal with whether or not TikTok can function in the United States independently of ByteDance's algorithm, in which they explain in great detail, essentially no. A great example of this is, say, if you uploaded a video, say, in Ireland. We would not be able to see that here in the US platform. Same thing, if we upload a video here, you wouldn't be able to see it worldwide. The algorithm is built so that they can all communicate together. So if you slice off the US, there's no way to communicate the algorithm between the entire world, at least all the networks that are put together. Jeffrey Fisher, who is representing the TikTok creators, says that banning this through ByteDance violates creators' right to choose their own platform. And it was brought up, well, there are other platforms that do these things, but of course the argument is, once again, but it's the algorithm that's giving all of us a voice. This brought up the question of covert manipulation because all the platforms on social media have some kind of algorithm that pushes different things. So we needed to define what covert manipulation was. Justice Kagan even goes on to say that everyone knows that China is behind TikTok. So what is considered a covert manipulation? He even brought up the point saying, well, what about foreign-owned newspapers? They clearly could be doing exactly the same thing, although the U.S. then argued back, saying that, well, newspapers collect far less information. This is where you then started seeing the justices kind of poking fun at the U.S. government for this stuff, and we even saw Justice Roberts saying that if the ByteDance ownership or the China ownership of TikTok was to get Americans to fight each other, he says, quote, "I'll say they're winning." We even saw Justice Alito make a joke between TikTok and maybe someone loving an old shirt they have. They talked about whether or not the president doesn't enforce the law when he was talking about President Trump getting into office. They talked about Elon Musk buying Twitter in about 6 months doing things, while TikTok saying, well, the time frame you gave us to even try to sell isn't even practical. And they're right, TikTok's worth over $300 billion. Who has that kind of money lined up? In their final arguments, the U.S. government states that the U.S. Congress was clearly and sincerely motivated by data protection concerns, and even if you discount the questions about propaganda and manipulation, that's enough to make the law stand up. TikTok came back saying, well, if Congress was really concerned about data security, then they should go after other Chinese apps here in the United States, such as Shein and Temu, which, yes, they're owned by Chinese companies. That being said, everything finally wrapped up, and now, I mean, everything's adjourned. We're going to find out hopefully next week. They come back on Monday. We don't know if we'll actually get an answer on Monday, but I'll be sure to keep you guys updated, so be sure to follow me for more. Oh, and also on YouTube at Joey Contino News, just in case TikTok gets banned.
TikTok is now saying that if the Supreme Court does not strike down the law that requires ByteDance and TikTok to divest, it will shutter operations in the United States.
He is correct, but I have some more inside information about the TikTok ban that was released today. So for starters, yes, TikTok has announced that they're not messing around anymore. If the Supreme Court strikes down the ruling forcing it to sell, they're not going to sell. They're just going to erase the ability to access TikTok in the US entirely because they're done with us. And they can easily do that. So as a reminder, yeah, I've had friends who have traveled to other countries that don't have access to TikTok as well, and they're like, it's weird. The app just doesn't open at all. And what's the inside information? Well, there's a couple layers of it, so stay with me here. So I had gotten this email from this place called Project Liberty that they reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be on email lists for information about, and I'm the kind of person who will just always say yes to an email list that sends out information that could be useful. And for a while, they've been floating around this people's bid for TikTok. And this morning, they formally announced that the founder of Project Liberty, Frank McCourt, has teamed up with Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank to put in a formal bid to offer to buy TikTok on behalf of this thing they're calling the People's Bid for TikTok. Now, do I know much about this Project Liberty? No, so I can't wholeheartedly support it like they're constantly asking me to. But here's what I was able to find out about it. It was founded by this billionaire, Frank McCourt. And from what I was able to find about him, he seems to be very anti these other social media tech billionaires. He's very outspoken against Mark Zuck. Based off of his history, it's probably safe to assume he's not a fan of Elon either. Now here's where things get more messy and the general rundown. We all know January 10th is when TikTok gives their argument in court. On January 19th, if the Supreme Court denies them and they don't accept a formal bid of some sort, then they will be banned, and they just let everyone know that they're okay with that. They're not going to accept a bid. And I wouldn't even be too terribly shocked if they committed to that, because although this bid, from the little information I've seen on it, doesn't seem too bad, there is one section that slightly concerns me, especially as a user here. That's the part where they said they want to buy it to keep the platform alive without relying on the current TikTok algorithm to avoid the ban. And that's the thing, the algorithm is what makes TikTok TikTok. It's the thing we all love about it here. You change the algorithm, it's not really TikTok anymore because there's so many replica apps that do the same thing, right? It's just a different algorithm. If you can't figure out how to keep the algorithm, I think that this is honestly a waste of an investment. And here's the messy rumor part behind all this. The rumors that Kevin O'Leary was stepping in here have been out for a while. And so last night I saw someone making a joking video about how, oh no, we wanted the other shark from Shark Tank, right? We don't trust Kevin the same way we trust the Cube, man. So it's kind of a joke, kind of not. I tag Marky Mark himself because I have the blue check mark, and I do understand that sometimes that'll push my comments to the top of someone's notifications. Tell me why I woke up to this. He sees our pleas. He's listening to us. Now, do I think that means he's actually planning on coming in and saving us? Probably not, but I just wanted to shout out to Mark Cuban for actually listening to the people who are out here trying. And I hope you're fine with this. Usually I respect the sanctity of mutuals, but your following list is very short and public, so. That's why I always say that if I had to pick a billionaire, it's gonna be Cuban.
I know damn well Mark don't think that we really finna run over to Instagram and Facebook if they ban TikTok. Like, be fucking for real. We all know that nobody, and I mean nobody, can compete with TikTok's algorithm. And I was even late to join fucking TikTok. I didn't really get on TikTok until November. But baby, when I tell you that I understand why everybody love it now, I've only been on here for like 2 months, seriously, and I love it down. Mark and anybody else who is just like him is the prime example of when you doing something so great and nobody else can match that shit, they will hate and they will wait for your downfall because they know that they do not stand a chance in doing what you're doing. And the fact that the U.S. is trying to ban an app that really helped so many Americans show you plain and simple that the people who run the U.S. don't give a fuck about the people in the U.S.
The TikTok ban hearing just concluded. We might actually get that extension. Now, first, it was TikTok up. They did their defense, which is, this is against free speech. The Supreme Court attacked them. And then it was up to the people of TikTok and their representation. Then this lady came up for the government and she was just like, China. And they're all like, wait a minute. We have laws since the Cold War allowing this. And then there was the final rebuttal from TikTok, which, you know what, we could possibly get this extension. We're not going to know until possibly Monday, but I'll keep you updated on this. Now, does it look good for TikTok? No. But they're kind of hoping that the next administration, President Trump, will actually just get rid of all this, if he even can. The defense for the government had no idea if he could or not. And then as soon as they're like, oh, you don't know, she was all like, oh, well, we got major problems with that. But what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, and follow, and I will keep you updated as soon as we get more information.
Things aren't going as planned for the Biden administration right now at the TikTok Supreme Court hearing. Justices press Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar, who is representing the Biden campaign in the oral arguments. This is what's happening. In her very first statement, she began her arguments by noting the danger of the app's covert influence on what other people see. She was hit with immediate resistance from Justice Elena Kagan, who asked how the covertness of TikTok was different from any other app like Facebook and Instagram. When Prelogar argued it was China was involved, Kagan said that everyone already knew China was involved and that all the algorithms by X and whatever new ones are also unpredictable. And she said that basically everyone knows that China's behind the app, so what's so covert about it? Justice Neil Gorsuch followed up with a similar skeptical view, arguing that the government's concern about covert content manipulation could be resolved by simply adding a disclaimer, rather than forcing the sale or shutdown of the app completely. Prelogar argued that the above law is simply trying to surgically remove the ability of a foreign adversary nation to get our data. But the Supreme Court came back and said, but China has literally already hacked into all of our government buildings. What information can they get off TikTok don't they already have? And they bust out in laughter in the courtroom when Chief Justice John Roberts triggered laughter in the courtroom when he asked Solicitor General whether she was arguing that ByteDance might be through TikTok trying to get the American people to argue with each other. And she said, yes, it's not looking too good for the Biden administration right now in this Supreme Court hearing. They also asked if you just didn't want China being involved, why didn't you ban companies like Temu, who are also controlled by China? TikTok creators, we're looking good right now. We're looking good.
Shit, I thought we was waiting till Monday, but Supreme Court said they got time today. Huh? I thought we was waiting till Monday, but Supreme Court said they got time today. Okay? Supreme Court said, listen, we heard them out. We did what they asked us to do. We ain't off that, okay? Nah. Tell ByteDance come up off that, okay? And they said it politely. They wasn't really letting nobody talk like I said, but it sounded like we had a little shot. I don't know. After these news articles coming out now, it might be over for Sunday. Bumper Monday. I don't know, y'all. Supreme Court siding with them right now. Now, listen, maybe over the weekend, they have a couple of them, Michelob Ultras. You know what I'm saying? Some Martell, some Scotch. Maybe it'll look different on Monday, but as of now, it's looking like we're going to be having the funeral on the 19th, okay? 12 o'clock sharp. Amen? Let's pray for a difference, but right now, y'all, Supreme Court seems as though they signed with the United States on this one. And ByteDance ain't budging either. I'm just a messenger.
I'm sorry, I have to get this off my chest because if I see one more influencer basically crying about the TikTok ban and them losing their job, I'm gonna lose it! Be so fucking for real. Okay, you are actually
So I haven't been posting consistently, mainly because there's a lot going on. Like I get a new Trump headline every day, and then I want to put my 2 cents on the Travis Hunter situation and the Luigi situation. Like there's a lot of headlines going around right now, so it becomes overwhelming when I have my personal life to tend to, and I also want to talk about things on TikTok. Nevertheless, I made time today to speak about this dumb bitch, because people with this opinion, and especially people bold enough to put this opinion online, fucking piss me off. I will always be in disagreement with the people that are like, oh, it's just an app. Just go get a job. You'll be fine. It's just an app. Why are you freaking out? Like, this app hasn't fucking changed people's lives in the last 4 years. I'm a great rebuttal to that dumbass video because I work over 50 hours a week. I am in the workforce heavily. I will be amazing with or without TikTok, and I'm still pissed off about it potentially being banned. 1, because it's definitely against the First Amendment rights and our freedom of speech. And 2, because I make money off this app. And 3, because I see other people making money off this app. Or 4, people not making money off this app and just enjoying it. Or 5, people just wanting to have fucking TikTok. And they're upset that it's being taken from them. And they have the right to express their anger. And your dumbass is on here like, oh, just go get a 9 to 5 like a normal person. There were people before TikTok that were about to unalive themselves because of how happy, unhappy, and how unfulfilled that 9 to 5 made them feel. TikTok came along. They took a chance, became content creators. They could leave that bullshit 9 to 5, that dead end 9 to 5 that wasn't paying them shit, wasn't allowing them to move closer to achieving their dreams and achieving their goals, but they're closer to it now because of TikTok. And your dumbass is on here like, just go get a 9 to 5. Like, that's a fucking, y'all piss me off with this opinion. It's the same motherfuckers that'll be like, oh, if TikTok goes away, just go get a 9 to 5. You're so weird. But then when they're 50 and 60 years old and they're looking back on their life, they're going to be the same. I guarantee you they're going to be the same motherfuckers that are like, life was boring. I should have done more. I didn't make many friends. I didn't go on a lot of trips. I don't have a lot of memories because you just went and got the 9 to 5 and stayed in your little lane and yada, yada, yada. Fuck that. Fuck that and fuck her. Fuck that and fuck her. Let me talk to the people that understand what I'm saying. If you have been on this app since 2020 like I have, or even after that, or maybe even before that, and TikTok is dear to you, that's the only reason you need. You don't need validation from the biggest content creator, the person with the smallest page, anybody in between, people off TikTok. You don't need any validation. The only thing you need to understand is, hey, TikTok is important to me. This app has made an impact in my life. So regardless of what anybody else thinks, I'm going to voice my opinion on why I want this app to stay. That's all you need. You don't need a community of people shouting with you or anything like that. If TikTok is important to you, TikTok is important to you, just like it's important to millions of other people. And that's all that fucking matters. I guess I get so passionate about this because I grew up around closed-minded people who would try to make fun of you when you did anything outside of the norm. So no way in hell am I going to be here X amount of years later on TikTok seeing everybody post their creativity and their true opinions on things and being their true authentic self, the people that are brave enough to be real on this app instead of the fake shit that we see, to the people that are brave enough to be on this app. I can't sit here in silence and just let the other people call you weird for being your true self. I grew up around that shit and I hate that shit. Fuck the norm. Fuck the norm. Some of my friends have fucking unalived themselves, bro. Because they stuck to the norm over and over and over again, and eventually they felt like there wasn't a way out except for unaliving themselves. I have lost people I care about because they feel like they have to stay in this fucking sphere. So no, you're not weird for shouting about wanting to stay on this app and wanting to keep creating and wanting to keep making income, and to the small businesses and the people that have changed their entire fucking life on this app. You are not the strange one. Don't let some dumb fucking post like this shit have you thinking that, oh, I'm out of pocket for voicing my concern about TikTok. No, you're not out of pocket. You're not out of pocket. You're right where you're supposed to be. Pissed off like the rest of us. Me personally, between 20 and 2024, I've learned a lot of shit from TikTok. Despite the money I've made, it's there, trust me. It has been a very lucrative app for me. But despite the money I've made, I've learned a lot of shit. My eyes have been open to a lot of shit. I've expanded who I am as a person because of this app. Not entirely because of this app, but a huge chunk of my growth is because of the experiences this app has led to. I've met important people in my life now because of our connection through TikTok. I can't tell you how many times I've been in public and people say, you're that guy from TikTok. You had the animal voiceover videos. You had that rant. You're on your workout shit. I recognize you from that. That's cool to me. You mean to tell me I can walk outside and people recognize and respect me just because of what I posted on an app? Keep this fucking app forever. I just genuinely look at the people that are like, oh, y'all are bitching about the TikTok ban. Just go get a 9 to 5 and shit. Like, I work over 50 hours a week, bro. I'm in the workforce. So tell that shit to me. Tell that shit to me. Tell me to go get a job, Ben. You see how that doesn't fucking work? You see how fucking judgmental and the assumptions y'all make, bro? Oh, they're only mad because TikTok is their only stream of income and they don't want to go get a real job. Like, what if it is their only stream of income? What the fuck is wrong with that? What, they're not outside fucking constructing bridges with their bare hands, so they're not important to you? It's somebody's stream of income. It's somebody's means to a quality life. So what the fuck are you mad about? Because they're making money? And it might be easier than the way you're making money? Let me tell you something. Creating content is not easy. That's another reason why I don't be posting back to back. I ain't got the time. Between tending to my loved ones and tending to my dogs and taking care of my real life shit, I post on this motherfucker when I got time. But some people, they got it on their calendar. Hey, 3 hours today, we gonna spend on TikTok creating this. You know how many musical artists are finally in the spotlight because of this app? They would still be fucking local, posted on SoundCloud without this app. And you're sitting here like, oh, why are they pressed about? Shut the fuck up.
And with your iniquitous news of the day, we start off with the TikTok ban. I listened so you didn't have to. Basically, it comes down to the U.S. is pissed and upset that the Chinese and ByteDance made a better app than them and that their algorithm is exponentially better than theirs. And they're like, wait a second. No. We need that. And if you guys don't sell your app, it's done. Banished on January 19th, which is an interesting date because that's right before Donald Trump comes in. And Trump was like, I'm going to save TikTok. I like TikTok because basically TikTok is one of the reasons I won. You see how I was eating and cooking up on TikTok? It's giving off North Korea dictatorship vibes because we're basically saying we need TikTok to be a U.S.-owned company. If it's owned by China, no. You guys could weaponize against us. I mean, you guys have our data. Every single app that we have has our data. I'd rather, personally, China have my data than the U.S. That's just me. I know some people may disagree, but like China's had my data for mad long. Their ads are better. Their algorithm is better. Their For You page is better. So it's like clearly the data they're using, they're doing it well. So thank you, China. They say 4 out of 10 young adults use the app to get their news, but let me tell you, it is way more than that. Probably more like 7 out of 10. And if you've never used the TikTok search feature, try it out. I mean, it's better than Google. No ads popping up, nothing sponsored. It's like, oh, I need a recipe. Here's the best recipe. Oh, what does this location look like? Here's what it looks like. POV from people all over the world. TikTok is just a better app, and the US is pissed and they want to make money off of it. And really, they don't care about the users or the creators. It's like, why is this just not a popular vote? Or why does Trump not just be able to say, well, I want to save TikTok. Well, let's save TikTok. Why are these old 70 plus motherfuckers having to say on the app they don't even understand or use? Questions I need answered. And anyone that actually believes TikTok should be banned, I don't think that they believe in the First Amendment as much as they say they do. Shout out to the 30% of firefighters that were incarcerated. They didn't try to run, they didn't try to escape, they was just helping out. But no worries, got sent right back to prison. What were they working on? Minimum wage. Who takes that money? Private prisons. Out here earning $580 to $1024 a day. I know a lot of people don't like prisoners, but fine, don't like the prisoners. Ask what happens to that $100 million a year that the state saves and makes. Whose pocket is that going to? Because clearly it doesn't help the firefighters out. What makes it even better is once they're finally released, how much firefighting experience do you have? Doesn't matter, because you have no chance of becoming a firefighter. Thank you for your service for minimum wage, though, and we appreciate you. The U.S. is planning on sanctioning the ICC. Do you understand how insane that is? The International Criminal Court was like, wait a second, Netanyahu, that's genocide. He's committing war crimes. We need a warrant for his arrest. We going to get him. And the U.S. was like, whoa, that is our biggest ally. You think you gonna arrest him? Absolutely not. Sanctioned. Which is kind of insane because, I mean, it's the International Criminal Court. Many countries have came together and be like, no, Netanyahu, they went too far. I understand, October 7th, very bad. But right now, this is genocide. This is not a war. They're killing innocent people. And the U.S. was like, we don't agree, sanctions. Sorry. It's so hypocritical because with the TikTok ban, they're like, we need no foreign entities or adversaries meddling with what the U.S. has going on. But then, like, what is APAC? American Israeli Public Affairs Committee. But oh yeah, somehow they don't have to register as a foreign committee. APAC, which literally has the word Israeli in it, a different country, is considered a public American lobbyist group. What? And Mark Zuckerberg came out and said Meta is now all about free speech, which I am currently testing out. And that's your Iniquitous News wrap-up of the day. Y'all have a phenomenal one. See you never.
I am genuinely pissed that TikTok is going to be deleted. I feel like everyone is completely ignoring the cultural significance of this app. Hundreds of millions of people have been posting on this app every single day for the last couple of years. That is culture. That is significant. That is important. That is worthy of being preserved. And I'm tired of people pretending like it's not. There has never been an app that has kept their finger on the pulse of cultural changes like this app, whether it be music, movies, television, fashion, whatever. All of that was documented in this app, and that is important. You can't just delete TikTok. And if you do, for the love of God, can you at least archive it? Because if you don't, that's like burning every single book that was printed from the year 2019 until right now. You're doing the digital equivalent of burning the Library of Alexandria again. It's such a waste, and it is so sad.
The government's not worried about a national security. They're worried about being able to censor the narrative. Meta came out this week and said that they're going to work to uncensor content. The same week, after I just spent 3 hours listening to the TikTok proceedings, all they did was cite national security interest, political agendas. Not once were the American people talked about. My personal experience with TikTok is that in the last 90 days, I've been able to leave my job and make a full-time living, actually twice what I was making in a full-time 8-year career with a college degree on TikTok Shop. But I guess it's all gone away now because they can't control China and they can't control the narrative anymore. And they want these Silicon Valley companies who share their data with the government and, by the way, have data breaches all the time to oversee corporations. But they can control the narrative with Twitter, X, with Meta, with these American-based companies, and they can't with TikTok. And I guess to them, being able to decide our agenda for us and how we should feel and having the mainstream news outlets control the narrative is a lot more important than letting people come together on an app like this and unite and form collective ideas that might be in opposition to the government's political agenda. So I don't know, guys. I just spent a couple hours listening to the TikTok proceedings. I'm an optimistic person. It ain't looking great. I don't know what Trump can and can't do, whether or not you're a fan. He said he wants to keep it. We'll see what he can actually do. I don't know. I'm pretty concerned. Hopefully you guys feel a little bit better than I do.
And
I also want you bitches to know that did not watch the goddamn court case or courtroom, whatever, the TikTok versus the U.S. These bitches was arguing that China uses TikTok to put U.S. citizens against each other to weaken them. That's one of the arguments, major arguments that they had. They said that China uses TikTok to put the U.S. citizens against each other to weaken them. Bitch, ain't that what the motherfucking government do, ho? The real reason they don't want TikTok out here is because people are giving information, the right information out, and the information is not censored. If you put the same stuff we post on TikTok on Facebook, it will be censored. You put the same stuff we post on TikTok on Instagram, it will be censored or either taken down off of both apps. Why? Because the U.S. government censors those apps so that if you say something that's true and they don't want that information to get out, they can easily take it off like that. They can't do that on TikTok. Yes, it's about money, but it's way more than money. These bitches want to control the U.S. citizens and want to shut us the fuck up like they been motherfucking doing, ho. And yes, I understand a lot of people that's on social media, especially TikTok, who's not getting paid or not a big influencer or a creator on these apps. Y'all don't really too much care. But I just want y'all to know, if this shit get banned, baby, the First Amendment is this shit ain't just gonna start at no TikTok or stop at TikTok, bitch. Bitch, our mouth is closed now, bitch. If the government win this goddamn case, oh, bitch, we can't say a motherfucking word nowhere else.
Everybody, I hope you guys all know the real reason why TikTok's being banned. It's not because of China. It was actually the U.S. Secretary of State and Senator Mitt Romney this spring when they were talking about the ban. They said this.
Which is some wonder why there was such overwhelming support for us to shut down potentially TikTok or other entities of that nature. If you look at the postings on TikTok and the number of mentions of Palestinians relative to other social media sites, it's overwhelmingly so among TikTok broadcasts. So I'd note that's of real interest, and the president will get the chance to make action in that regard.
Did you catch that? He said the number of mentions of Palestinians on this app is higher than it is anywhere else on any other social media platform. And so they're going to make action on that, meaning that the president's going to ban it because it's pro-Palestinian. Did you hear them say anything about China? Nope. Nope, because it's not about China. The TikTok ban is about limiting our free speech. There are millions of people on this app who have been using it to speak out in support of the Palestinians, and they want to put a stop to that. They want to take away the tools that people are using to make change in the world. This is a free speech ban, and it shouldn't stand. And when you talk about the TikTok ban, talk about this. I just feel like most people don't know this about the ban, and it's frustrating. And I feel like people need to know, so share this out there. Repost and copy the link a bunch of times on this video because it really helps out the algorithm. Thank you, and free Palestine.
I don't know if y'all been watching this Supreme Court versus TikTok hearing, but man, I'm really proud of the Supreme Court. I know we haven't been given a verdict as to whether it's gonna be banned or not, but it looks like the Supreme Court been doing their homework, because they over here debunking everything the U.S. government got to say. Just hearing the lawyer for the U.S. Congress just running in circles in 2x speed, just spouting nonsense about national security is hilarious, because the judges ain't going for it whatsoever. They damn near irritated that she keep bringing this up. Clearly said, what's the difference between this app and other apps and even like the newspaper press of like Oxford? Nothing really. They all control what they want to control. At first, I wasn't having any faith. But after listening to this hearing, man, the Supreme Court, they came to play. I'm rooting for it. We ain't going nowhere.
TikTok's lawyers just went before the Supreme Court to put up their arguments as to why this app should not be banned, and I listened to the full 2.5-hour live audio. And let me tell y'all, that shit was wild. TikTok's lawyers are saying that this app can be banned simply because it violates our First Amendment freedom of speech rights. Congress's lawyers are saying that it needs to be banned because essentially it is a national security threat. That China is using this app to obtain the information it wants to be able to do whatever it feels the need to do to our country. One of their arguments was that the younger generation in this country right now that's using TikTok is going to grow up and they're going to become FBI and CIA agents, right? And they're going to use what they know about this app to partner with foreign adversaries, to partner with China and destroy our country from the inside out. I'm sorry. What? Be so fucking for real. And this shows you how out of touch these justices are with what this app is doing to benefit us as Americans, because one of them asked, if it shuts down, what are the actual repercussions? I don't know, the millions of people that lose jobs, the millions of billions of dollars it's put into the economy, etc., etc. But TikTok's lawyers cooked, y'all. They cooked. They went as far as to say, if they take this app, then how are we allowed to shop on Temu? How are we allowed to shop on Shein? Both of which ship us products from China and take our personal information to do so. How are we able to not moderate news stations that take information and modify it and twist it and cause Americans to believe their narrative? How are we able to work with foreign news stations and foreign newspapers and foreign movie makers who also would be taking our information? At what point would this end? How is Instagram not a threat then? How is Twitter not a threat then? How is Facebook not a threat then? All of these social media apps have all of our personal information on them. The difference is this app is content based. It's us speaking as I am right now, and they want to take that away. My personal opinion, it's not a national security threat from China. The national security threat is the fact that you know that we as Americans get on this app and we find out things that are going on and it connects us, and that scares our government. They want us to be divided. They don't want us to be a unit. In the end, TikTok's lawyers gave their closing arguments. They were fucking awesome. They said they were adjourned until Monday at 10 a.m. So that might be when we know something. We might know something before, but as soon as I know, you'll know. So stay tuned.
These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're gonna see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. These people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
homicide. None of my niggas scared to shoot. All my niggas down around, be ready when we spit at you. We gon' be so pussy nice. Set me off that 45. Something we call homicide. Set me off the 45.